Here are some gel beads from the brand Chermory, Chermory. This is a set. You've got the 2hoppers, grenade hoppers, pineapple hoppers, whichever you want to call them, filled with beads. Each one has 60,000 beads in there. So that is a lot of gel balls when you soak those and get them ready to go. So you got 120,000 plus you got the additional hoppers, which is great because it's nice to have backup hoppers, or if you end up cracking one at some point, it's great to have another one. So let's talk about soaking the beads properly. Number one thing I see with people with gel blasters who have issues, it's because they're not soaking the beads properly. You need to make sure to use plenty of water, a large enough container, and make sure you soak it long enough, which is 4 to 6 hours. Okay, and then when you're done, there should be extra water in there. Strain that water off, and then you're good to go. Because there's no way that you guessed perfect, and they absorbed all the water. So they can't get too big, but they definitely can get too small. They're restricted by the size of the container and by the amount of water you put in. So don't go too crazy. Start small. And use plenty of water, and you'll kind of get the hang of it, and eventually whatever container you decide to use, you'll end up, filling it up and figuring out how to do it. So let's talk about how I do it. I use these little Tupperware containers like this. We have bunches of them left over. So I'm gonna fill that up, and then, they have a lid so they stay airtight. So what I typically do is I'll put a couple tablespoons in here and a liter of water. So got a little tablespoon. Now anymore I can pretty much guess how much to put in, but otherwise if you go, just do 2. We'll just do 2, okay? Doesn't look like there's a ton in there, trust me, there are. And then I just take a liter of water. In this case, I'm just using a bottle for the sake of the video because it's easier, but it's also measured out, which is nice. So I'm gonna put in a full liter of water. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna let them soak. Typically I just do it overnight, but 4 to 6 hours is adequate. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let those soak 4 to 6 hours, and then I will show you exactly what they look like. I maybe went a little too much on the water on this one, but I doubt it. And then once they're all soaked and ready, I strain them out with this strainer that I have, and then just put them back in here after I get the excess water out, and then transfer some to hoppers and leave the others in here in an airtight container where they'll stay. So again, these are from Chermory, and this is their 260,000 pack. So you get 2 hoppers with 60,000 in each, so 120,000 gel beads, which should last you a very long time. So the Chermory gel beads have soaked overnight. I actually used a lot more water than I needed to, but that's okay because that illustrates a point here. It's not bad to use too much water, and it's not bad to use too big a container because that way they are going to grow to the actual size they need to. So these are definitely at the right size because there's all this extra water in here. It's not as much extra water as you think. There's quite a few gel balls in here. They kind of get that translucent color. So the trick would be to strain that water out. Like you could even use your hand like this to strain it. You don't have to have a fancy strainer, but you want to get a lot of that water out. You don't want that water going into your hopper and then basically going into your gel blaster, right? So strain it out somehow. In this case, I would strain it over a sink with this strainer, and then your gel balls are going to be ready to go. So this lets you see that you got them to the right size because there's extra water and there's plenty of extra room in the container. I'm gonna go strain these over a sink. We'll put them into a hopper and eventually we will shoot them. So these have been all strained. Now you can see them. There's still obviously gonna be a little water in there. It's hard to strain them all perfectly, and they do kind of, the water does kind of stick to them. But I've gotten the majority of it out, and that's what you need to do. So then you can go ahead and load them into your hopper. You can just use your hand like this. You can use a funnel. I have a funnel, but a lot of times I end up just doing this because if you're careful and you've done it several times, you can do a pretty good job of just using your hand as a funnel. So you're just gonna wanna go ahead, fill your hopper up, your grenade hopper, or pineapple hopper, whichever you wanna call it, and then you're ready to go. Just make sure that you either use all the gel balls that are in the hopper when it's on the gun, or if there's gel balls left over, take it off, take the hopper off, seal it up, and just leave it in the hopper like this. You don't want to leave these in the blaster. They will eventually evaporate and water will go into your blaster. So you can leave them in here like this. I've left them as much as probably even 2 weeks. As long as they're in an airtight container, they'll be okay. Same with these. I've left them for probably 2 weeks before because they're in an airtight container, and they do okay. You'll notice when they start getting old, they'll just start kind of basically exploding as you shoot them out, and then it's time to make some new ones. All right, so here they are from Chermory, Chermory. We'll put them in a Chermory gel blaster, and I'll shoot them a little bit so you can see them in action.